A little bit of a I'm not so ready. Welcome. Nice to meet you. Hi. So we'll get you set up with books and stuff at that point, I guess. Hi. About 4,000.
Here we go. There we go.
Hello. Can the people in the back hear me okay? All right. Welcome to Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic, which has been happening on the second Thursday of every month since 2004. And since recently, we have been here at Art at the Cave. Very happy that Art at the Cave is our new home. We will have, yes. It's great to be in person. It's great to be in person at such a beautiful, important venue downtown in Vancouver. And as you'll see, we also have readers on Zoom, small handful of readers who are Zooming in from various places. What's up? For the people that are just coming in now, there are some benches. They might not look like that immediately right away. It's also okay to stand, of course. There's a couple of seats in the front. You don't have to worry about being shy about that. And I know that there are some people in the room that haven't been here before, so just be aware that there's art around you and try not to, lean on art and be really careful, especially with their sculptures. And we have bathrooms. If you go to the back of the gallery and through the exit door, there are 2 bathrooms back there. There's also a $5 suggested donation, which is split between the gallery, the featured reader, and Printed Matter Vancouver, which is the small press and editing service that my wife Tony and I started in 2011. So there's a jar that's on the table on the desk back there, and that's the same place where we hope you will be buying books by our featured reader, Igor Brezhnev. We're very excited to have Igor tonight. So after Igor wows you with his feature, give Kathy a moment because she's doing a few different things here to get back there. And also Igor's books are not there yet. And Sharon is here also from the gallery, is also here to help. And then that's where we're hoping that you will buy some of Igor's books. So we're gonna also be, my co-host Morgan, Paige and I will be wiping off the microphone after each person. We're gonna let you decide whether you want to take off your mask while you're reading, but obviously the rest of the time we want you to have it on, and then we'll hit the microphone. Question? Yeah. I'm gonna leave that up to you too. It's a room full of artists and writers. I'm not gonna get involved in that decision. And I think everything is pretty much covered. We're gonna do we have 12 people on our list. We're gonna do about 7 of those people, and then Igor will give his feature, and then as I said, there'll be a break so that you have time to stretch your legs, buy books, things like that. I wanna say thank you to Kathy and Art at the Cave for having us, and Kathy for helping with all of this audiovisual stuff. Do I need to do anything with these lights before we start? Turning on. Even. I want to say, I know that everyone's wanting to hear some poetry. I want to say thank you to the many people that are here this evening that, as I greeted them as they came in, said that they came just to listen. That is always a blessing at a poetry reading. It's always hard to get people to come in just to listen. And we know that we're in times where people are nervous. So thank you for coming to listen to poetry tonight. That's a big deal. So we're going to start off tonight with my co-host, Morgan Paige. Please say hello to Morgan. Yeah, I think so, because who the hell knows?
Yeah, I love these. Yeah, Chris said we didn't have anyone cited for number one, so I was like, all right, cool, I'll take it. Why not? And I've got a poem about rain. After Wendell Berry. It is it was a Facebook prompt. Somebody just, put it out there, and the first line is associated with Wendell Berry. It's a line from his poetry. A poem that does not disturb the silence with which it came must be a poem about rain. As it washes the claim of the dirt, cleanses our seedlings of of vapor. To witness this labor of the atmosphere is such a softening, as mouths of earth are opening for springs and rivers to flow forth with gain. We need only look to the gray to give thanks for rain and for the silence with which it came. Thank you. Love seeing so many people out here. Thanks so much for showing up, everybody. We're gonna have a really good night. Thank you.
Okay, and next we would like to welcome Joanne Boswell.
Thank you. I missed last month and I really missed it. And I'm glad to be here, even though I have to take off early tonight. But know that it's nothing personal. I'm just subbing in a high school tomorrow morning, so I need my sleep. I'm going to read two. Both of them are recent. And yeah, the first one needs no explanation. It's called Jury Selection. Summoned, we are sardines, sorted, squished, silent, encouraged to put aside unconscious bias. 63 assorted citizens, plus courtroom staff and defendant, apologies for the squeeze, masks up, line the hall like elementary assembly, file in below maximum occupancy 49. We're made to break that rule. Hip to hip, we are asked about our hardships. Can you miss your medical appointment, your job, your daughter's wedding? Does blood make you squeamish? What about body fluids? Sexual assault? The court is sorry that happened to you, your wife, your child, all of you. But could you be unbiased on a jury? Break time, we are escorted next door, empty courtroom, don't leave this room, don't discuss this case, only use designated bathrooms. Here's some water. I hope you brought snacks because we won't release you for nearly 6 hours. Even if you're an 86-year-old veteran with a broken back and hearing difficulties. Sample size, we are one breath of our county. Have we been in a fist fight? Said something we regret? Figured out how to tell which of our kids is telling the truth? How do we feel about police, the homeless community, meth users? Raise your hand if you think drug users deserve what they get. Sworn in, we are the focused pulse of our county, asked to ponder attempted murder for 5 hours and 45 minutes. I am a daisy of desire. Don't pick me. Please pick me. Don't pick me. You need me. Lady in the rainbow sweater has unpopular opinions about law enforcement and empathy. That's me. I'm her. I have thoughts. Thank you. They didn't select me. This one, I don't know if you've noticed, I just finished this poem this morning, but the leaves this year are just so bright. And they came a little bit late, and I've heard it said that it is like a trauma response to the heat wave that we had this summer. So as I've been pondering that a lot, I came up with this poem with a title that's almost longer than the poem. After the great Pacific Northwest heat wave of 2021 and 20 months into the global COVID pandemic. It was the boing that woke us. Pin straight hair, forcibly twisted, mousy hues, suddenly unnatural crimson shock overnight. So many months of bizarre stress stored in our bodies. Mild surprise quickly fades, but our locks remain startled. My job as family photographer flourishes. When truth looks like a lie, I ease editing. Human and nature foliage are plain enough with escaped colors, numinous. The tree's trauma response, like ours, is delayed and oversaturated. Impossibly crisp pumpkin leaves, staggeringly beautiful citron branches scream, "This is real. This is real. This is proof of pain." A desperate, involuntary waving across the universe, a primitive SOS bright collides. In a few months, when it all falls out, will we cheer ourselves with twinkle-like crowns too? Resigned to whatever comes beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. And now coming to us via Zoom, Cindy Chatham. So make a lot of noise so she can hear you wherever she is.
Okay, just a second. Oops. Hi, yeah, I'm in Northern California, just in case anybody wondered. This is from my unprinted chapbook called Beach Years, which is about North Beach in San Francisco in the 70s and 80s. So I'm reading part 2 from that book, the poem, North Beach, Grant Street and Beyond. North Beach, the saloon, corner entrance, poking out of Grant Street across Columbus. Creased, stony-faced, leather-jacketed guy sitting a stool in the doorway, silently acknowledging, long hair over his collar. I pass on through. A long skinny bar, long mirror behind with neon beer signs, an old curved lamps with muted lights, a narrow dark passage to the back, to the small dance floor and beat up toilets. Everyone along the bar scanning without looking, others against the opposite encroaching wall, watching me as I squeeze and brush through, some nodding. I'm searching out the crowd, a necessary ritual. There's the smell of stale beer, cigarette smoke, and smashed butts. The acridity of age, sticky floors, wobbly stools, funky round tables and chairs at a premium from Thursday to Saturday night. An occasional fight, beers and ashtrays spilling, chairs tumbling, North Beach locals, nodding acquaintances, the familiar barmen. Don't forget the tip. This is your playground. The band takes the room, owns it. Little Charlie and the Nightcats, electric blues and swing. Mike Bloomfield with Nick Gravenitis, Chicago blues guitars. Charlie Musselwhite's blues harp. Roy Rogers, Delta rhythm, slide guitar. Others, dancing blues, bouncing and vibrating in the tight circle, jostling for space. We boogie and twirl. I am lost in rhythm and music. I am the dancing queen in my hangout, an escape from still life with lemons, my saloon on the corner of Grant and Fresno Alley, leading up a steep hill somewhere mysterious in the dark. This alley, bikers parking their Harleys, people smoking their joints, buying drugs, couples kissing and or arguing. North Beach life buzzes. Stomping jeans and boots, black velvet cap on my tan felt brimmed one on cold nights, jacketed and belted. I feel young and cool. Climbing up Grant to the coffee gallery, later renamed the Lost and Found, dingy, aged, scuffed, comfortable mine. Expectations walk in, sparkling, bouncing, looking for fun, looking for romance. Window seats in the left bar corner, usually taken, looking out onto the street. Who's sitting there tonight? Big pint drafts on tap, wine coolers for me. I steal cherries from the bar. I am gently nudged, receive smiles and nods. I am ignored or snubbed by the irregular ignorant. Am grabbed affectionately by those familiar. Push up to the bar and order a red wine cooler with lemon and ice and lots of cherries, please. Open mic is in the back room. Poetry, stand-up, music, sometimes crazies on stage. I love it all. I take black beauties, write poems, and draw. At my square wood table with crooked legs, rocking my pint of draft or cooler, between watching the performers and scanning the audience for my brooding cowboy singer poet, Kel Robertson, in black hat and fringed jacket, for Mike Wilhelm of the Old Charlatans in silver and black leather, Father Sarducci, comedian in priest robes, strange guitarist, songwriter, freaky Ralph Eno, gyrating on the stage, writing a song for Patti Smith, some sparkling drag queens at the mic, and crazy street poets wander in and out, whose words remain on the street sheet somewhere in time. Here's that comic with a brown bag on his head and a cool, lean, black jacketed saxophonist with a ponytail blowing jazz. And all those multitudes I missed or don't recall, their brief moments of consequence. That night I won the poetry contest. I love the poetry in 4 simple lines, read on stage by my cowboy poet, my small moment of celebrity. So many years ago, in my favorite hangout, sometimes I got to stay after hours when the doors were locked. I belonged. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank
So
you.
tell, everybody tell your friends who live near and far that we want them to be able to participate in this. One of the things that was really nice that happened during this time where we were doing this only on Zoom is we expanded our community to, California, Miami, Florida. We had people zooming in from Colorado, from New York, from Seattle, all over Zoom. And some of those people have drifted away, which makes sense, but they're still welcome and your friends are still welcome. And if there are people who live in Vancouver and Portland who are just not ready to go and be in a room with other people yet, tell them that they can participate by zooming in. We'd love to have them. And I was also thinking about how I really like being able to see someone's entire face, but you really can smile with your eyes. So just smile like a motherfucker with your eyes tonight if you're feeling it. I'm not trying to tell you what to do or how to feel, but if you're feeling it, smile with the eyes and we'll get it. Our next reader is going to be someone that's been coming for quite some time, back since we were at Cover to Cover Books. Always glad to have him here. Ian Kayton.
Hey, everybody. I almost zoomed it in tonight too, because it was like I had to swim here. It was so bad. Traffic was awful. My car didn't like swerving in the rain. But I want to announce I'm also a co-host, one of 3 co-hosts for it's called The Last Stand at Wildwood Saloon. And that's one of the rowdiest dive bar readings every first Monday of the month. And so I've been assigned the months of December, March, June, and September. So I've got one coming up in December. It's a real world-class poet, I think, and I'm super excited to have her. So come down December 6th at Wildwood Saloon, which is just on West Burnside. And you can hear Kelly Russell Agadon. She's coming down from Seattle. Yes. But I was like, that's a long ass trip for you to be driving. Do you want me to pay you for that? She said she has somebody that lives here. One of her, I guess her child lives here in Portland. So it's totally cool to come visit down. So I don't feel that guilty, but I'm super excited and super stoked to have her. All right. I wrote this today. Right now it's untitled. I think it's part 1 of 3. Breaking up with a band is worse than breaking up with a woman. It's like breaking up with 3 or 4 of your best mates. The worst was after I broke my neck. We were still playing some shows and I thought I was the oddity that people came to see. Some young bloke with a bird cage wrapped around his head and still drinking. Still drinking after almost losing everything. Not caring about friends and family, what they thought after they had pulled me out from the cube that used to be my mom's Volkswagen Golf. Not caring about me mom and dad who almost had to see their middle child buried, learning how to walk again after the coma and weeks in the hospital, but still drinking and smoking and taking whatever came my way. I remember bits and pieces, images of opening for the Brian Jonestown massacre at Bottom of the Hill and blowing them away. Me in my bird cage, me with my mates, Kevin on bass with curly hair, bobbing up and down, Raul on drums holding down the beat while I did my thing on the congas, Jeff and Renee opening their amps to a wave of sound through filters and effects from their stomp boxes. Jeff with his 12-string Rickenbacker and long blonde bangs, brown leather workman's shoes. And Renee with smile for days and grins to all the women holding Fender Jaguar and singing beautiful backup harmonies to our lead singer, Ben, with his whisper of a voice and his high register calls, lyrics and words and song titles filled with meanings and interpretation. And then John with his slender good looks and baggy huaraches, holding tambourine and doing the hustle, left foot forward, left foot back, right foot forward, right foot back. And we played our psychedelic blend of Manchester meets Bay Area mods, kids on mopeds with stripy shirts, high haircuts, and girls with bangs. Our stickers and our whistles announcing our presence at raves all across town, from Santa Cruz to San Francisco, Oakland, Santa Clara, and Fremont. And when the band broke up, it was like breaking up with 7 of me best mates. Me heart still yearns for them too. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you so much, Ian. And next, we're going to hear from another Zoom reader for our hybrid Ghost Town open mic, Bruce Hall. So give it up for Bruce.
Thanks. I guess that's not going to work. Okay. I don't have a title for this one yet. I wrote it one of Chris's workshops, which next one comes up Saturday. Sounds like if you guys can beat the salmon upriver. It's raining here in Kennewick too, so what we call rain. It's not like rain down there. Anyway, here we go. Do you write poems with a message? Lassie is telling us Timmy fell down the well, or E.T. phoned home. Does this reduce poetry to the level of an email? Or if you want something more official, a memo? Finish that project by the close of Friday, of Business Friday, or it will be bad. I write emails every workday. Everyone has a message that I'm sure I communicated so well that I will receive the pushcart award for memos. Nope. The reply is out of the parking lot behind left field. A message in a poem is like a wild pitch in baseball. You don't mean for it to go there, past the back of the batter's head, to the backstop, but there the ball lies till the ball boy picks it up. The message is a mystery to me, even though I wrote it. I know what I mean, but the reader or listener didn't raise pigs 3 miles from town. So they have no idea of knowing that the crook of the hog showing cane is for stopping pig fights. They think using the crook to pull the snout has something to do with drugs. City people, go figure. But that's the point. You can't figure. Once the poem has been read or heard, its meaning belongs to someone else. That's why I don't read those posts about what a poem or a song means, because they always get it wrong. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bruce. Yes. And he is one of the people that shows up to the workshops almost every single time. And I love the work. I haven't been in some weeks, but please check it out if you're interested in the work. 2 times a month now, 3 times?
3 times. Next one is
Saturday, 11:30 to 2. It happens 3 times a month. It's a wonderful workshop. Highly recommend. Next, we're going to hear from somebody who's been coming really consistently as well, and whose work we really have been enjoying. Bill Erickson, come on up to the mic.
Hey. So all day today at work, there was a hummingbird buzzing around my window, came back like a million times, hanging out in the tree. And it reminded me of a couple poems that I wrote. So I actually have a plan today, which is, rare. Inventions, part 66. I invent a significant number of hummingbird murders, hang them from the low branches, hide them in the leaves. I look up and they fall. I look down and the bones make no difference. This is how you regret. You live like your hands this whole time have seen nothing. So this is a little newer, kind of a departure from stuff that I usually do. Maybe not, no title. Of everything cage-like, I think mostly of teeth. I try baking a cake for your birthday from wishes, but wishes that come off the weeds, how they stick to your gums, Ah, the stories that I tell where your fingers are fence slats. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bill. And I love those pieces. And I love when anyone chooses to do something different and experiment a little bit. So thank you for that. Yeah, next we're going to hear from Erin Aurelia, who's zooming in as well. And we'd love to hear from Erin. We haven't heard from her in a few ghost towns. So welcome to the Zoom stage here. Erin, give it up.
Thanks, Morgan. Thanks, everyone. I'm coming at you from my bed. So welcome to my bed, everyone. I have one to read here that I also wrote in Chris's latest workshop. Anyone who hasn't been, I encourage you to go. They're fabulous. They're worth every penny and every minute you can spend there. This one is called Tip of the Iceberg. In the glare of the surface of things, so much is deemed missing. Our eyes are full of absence, and nothing can be had but for the chase of it. We take the superficial to be literal and eternal, if not the infernal fate we are condemned to. Yet if we denied the jail of space and rejected such fate, turned instead toward exploring unseen arcana residing in the depths, the darkness there will teach us to reach and perceive with senses that are differently keen, which will reveal the presence of abundances previously unglossed. We'll demonstrate how, despite what we've been told, not all has been lost, but had been buried beneath us like secret treasure, had been obscured before us as in inclement weather, but it isn't someplace else where we are not. It's deep in the heart of every moment, and the way to our knowing it is never blocked. Thank you. I can share another if I'm permitted, but I'm not sure what the rules are for Zoom, so let me know what to do.
Erin, would you like to read one more? Is that what you said? Because yeah, we'd love to hear one more.
Yeah, great. I'll share one more. Thank you. I appreciate it. This one is called, this was also written in one of Chris's workshops. This was written, not the latest one, but the one I attended prior. This is called Odin's Angels. Thought and memory spar within me like hawks dogfighting in midair. Thoughts taste pithy, like questions afraid of their answers. Memories taste ashy, like burned down dreams hinting at resurrection. The insurrection of my heart betrays longing, even though my mind knows better. And in clearer weather, I can see more surely, but often there's only fog. In the end, each day is new, is a swelling mystery before it is shaped and rendered a memory, and I'm not required to carry matches in defense of it. Yet how tremulous it feels to let ships sail, to let birds fly, because the wakes they make only flow one way, and I sorrow when considering I may never see them again. I shake when attempting to have faith that what is truly made for me will assuredly return.
Thank you so much, Erin. Beautiful stuff, all from the workshop, the work. So now I have the great privilege of introducing my good friend and feature. I think, am I missing somebody? Do I have one more? So our amazing feature is next after one more reader. Now I'm even more excited. Okay, so just keeps getting better and better. I'd love to introduce someone who hosted Ghost Town Open Mic for over 10 years, 12 years with Christopher, his partner in truth and beauty, wonderful poet, wonderful human being, and someone we all know and love. Welcome to the stage, Tony Lambrazo Luna.
Hey, everyone. Gosh, it's nice to be back. Can you hear me okay? It's really great to be here. I haven't been here in a while, and so I'm really happy. This is great. Cool. Anyway, I'm going to read from the book, a couple of them. I'll start with the titled poem. It's called Driven by Hope. I wrote this for my clients at the Adult Rehab Center, Santa Ana, California, and for those who are lost and longing to come home. Some people claim a second chance and escape from extremes on swings suspended from chains in unfamiliar playgrounds. At one time or another, he had a family, a parent, a brother. Phone numbers written in ink on the palm of his hand. Thanks strangers for spare change to make the call. Can I come home, Mom? Just for tonight. Someone stole my stuff when I got popped and it's cold out. The family's been here before. It never goes well. Their hope is habit forming. He looks like hell, smells foul, wants a smoke, coughs the 10-mile markers home, yells, "Coffee," when he enters the house. Mom's cooked a grilled cheese sandwich, trimmed crust, timed perfectly crisp and brown. He slumps on his saved seat. She takes the cup with David, D-A-V-I-D, painted on the side in red block letters, pours it full, adds 4 sugars to half and half. Won't look in her eyes, knows she's been crying. Soon she'll ask when he last slept. He will lie. She will believe anything he says because her hope is habit forming. Won't eat the sandwich, can't eat anything. His stomach burns all the time. She's made up his bed, offered towels, vitamins. He spends an hour in the bathroom, lets the shower run while he sits on the floor smoking. Imagines how water will sting if it touches his body. When the house is quiet, he goes to his room, waits for her to peek in, makes sure he's in bed. He knows she will blow a kiss. It fractures his already broken heart. He waits another half hour, moves to the couch, then to the floor, hasn't been able to sleep on anything soft in years. At 4, takes his brother's new parka from the closet, pockets the jar of change from the hall table, steals a check from her purse and writes, I really can't be here. I love you. I'll call. He's out the front door and into the darkness. Mother watches from her upstairs bedroom, glad tonight that her room faces the street. This is the moment she fears. Could be the last time. She always thinks this morbid thought when he goes. He crosses the lawn, moves out from beneath the streetlight, slips behind the neighbor's lilac tree, sees her in the window. This could be the last time. He always thinks this morbid thought when he leaves. He wonders why hope is habit forming, wonders what happened to him, wants to hope for something. So he hopes she'll be able to sleep. Hopes she'll be able to sleep. He hopes she'll be
Thank you so much, Tony. And that's a beautiful book. If you don't have a copy of that, Driven by Hope, Tony, it's a beautiful book. Pick one up. Yeah. So yes, now I have the privilege of announcing my good friend, our good friend, Igor Brezhnev. Igor Brezhnev, he's a force. He's an extraordinary human, friend, community builder, all around just amazing person. I got a chance to meet him a couple years ago at an open mic in Portland when he handed me a card and said, I'm starting a press. And I took the card and I called him and I was like, cool, okay. We've been friends ever since. And literally within a year, he started a press. He published 6 poets. He hosted a weekly packed open mic called Word Lights in Portland. And all while being a houseless person in Portland, and all while just maintaining and building community all along the way, also while publishing his own books, all within a year. This is BC, this is before COVID, pre-COVID, all within a year. So again, extraordinary human being. So we're in for a treat. I'm so excited to announce Igor Brezhnev.
Is a drunk, even after 2 sober decades. In a way, Buddha is drunk in a ditch after knowing a truth. In a way, the moon gives us sunlight at night. I tell my story like my skin is still prodded with electric wires. Like I know what it's like to have my body seize up in pain and still give only the story they wanted to hear, not the story they need. I'm a poet in a way there is standing room only after the rich take all the seats. In a way, their dogs sniff at our blood, hunger in their eyes. I'm a poet in a way you ought to remember which hand holds the pen and which the grenade. I'm a poet in a way the rich spit our bones on a landfill when we are tired. I'm a poet in a way I want words to remember that we too have lived. Yes. Hello, everybody. It's really nice to be here. Morgan, thank you so much. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Art at the Cave. It's a great place to be. I think we booked this like 2 years ago. So this was night 265 from the series that I wrote in 2019 and beginning of 2020 called Night Since. And I wrote 363 poems every night documenting emotional landscape of being without a home. And so first 4 of these, first 4 chapbooks came out of that series. And there's still, God, 7 to go. I took a little break in publishing them. But I'm going to read some poems from volume 4, the most recent one that came out, and then intersperse a few other poems, and we'll see how much time I have. Yeah. Let's see. Look at that. It's gonna yell at me. Someone needs to, right? Otherwise, I'll be here, going for an hour. Fall. If we were to collect all the fallen leaves, all the wet of low-hanging gray skies, set up as still in the darkened hills, would we be able to brew a potion, granting us melancholy of autumn in the short winter days to come? Would we be able to taste sadness with a hint of summer heat in a sip? Would sadness gladden us in the dark? Would we get drunk and red-faced on this golden draught enough to sing our way through our frozen hearts? Would we know our own fall coming? Come, let's gather fallen leaves now. So this one is from the volume 1. I like number 11. It happens to be 11/11. I was absolutely miffed when I, recalled that that's when we booked the show. Night 33. If you know me, I love the repetitive numbers game. I see them everywhere, on clocks and receipts, on license plates and house addresses, in the weirdest places. Here they are, beeping my mind, pretty patterns repeating. Now, I'm not looking for messages in bottles or some deep meanings. It's just that I think they're nice. One, ones, standing oh so tall and rising. 3 threes, talking cubes and volumes. 2 2 2, swanning on lucky sevens jig. A 1 2 1 2 marching song. I like the silliness of it, the humanness of it all, the make-a-wish of it. The, hey, I see you, pick-a-boo, ha. It makes a dark world lighter, just a little. For a time, for you. 11/11. Last time I was here last month, and I got up on here and I promised you all a poem that had many different languages in it, and I read the wrong poem. It didn't have any of those languages in it. Night 120, promise fulfilled. Pour me a cup of tears, или стакан граненой дождевой воды. I want to gulp it quickly, глотки жадный голод утолить на час иной. Listen, town, upside down, постели мне простынь над рекой. Let me rest, let me стать чужой абрикосовой звездой, yeah? Estoy cansado, darling. True, 120 nights in flight, hoping to survive. Oh, I can't not read that one. It's in the book. It's for Morgan. Night 132. 2 cherries in my hand. One for the memory of cherry trees I climbed, old giants with fruit, suited best for wine or sweetest liquor. Bark scraping skin, bloods mingled, the view unfolding, houses and roads. Whitened mud, straw-hatted, and dust contained by marigolds, as amber as the sun, and fences as blue as sky. As long ago as cherry pit would be another tree. This cherry would take you to a river isle where my aroma kin kept dancing with the southern wind. And horses begged hands for apples that cherry would sing you elder songs, stringful of joyful sorrows. To watch us twirl on sands, to hear stomping feet away a mile. This cherry stone would find itself in a rowing boat, watching clouds float and water flow, flow, flow. This second cherry, I hold it, yet untasted. It is unknown, like the futures we're yet to weave. Glance its skin for signs and portents of our tomorrows. Then bite it, for untasted, it's just another cherry. Night 127. There we are, ladling the honey and chicory of our lives onto this stage. Like the water we wash the world with in a small zinc tub, mix hot and cold in a single sentence, rinsing the soap off, hoping the dirt and ink of our days would come off this skin, but it doesn't. Dive bar stains are still there, always. Track marks where we poured words into bloodstream don't come off. Darlings, look at the soil of us, so rich for seeding, given spittle and sweat. Don't you want to plant a tree here? Don't you want to make flower beds out of all the walls we broke in our haste to be free of stones? Don't you want to gulp it all like the fake coffee of our poverty? Thank you. So just so happens that in this book there is a poem, and the poet that I wrote it for, one of the three poets that I wrote it for, is right here. Ha! I love doing this. Night 123. For Mike, for Micah, for Shane. Poet spills electric blue on the stage, and after the sky blooms gold, blooms rainbow, as it does after a summer storm. All the green is fresh, and the mulch spells we will grow. We will grow. We, trees lightning hit, grow hesitant stems showing our leaves to the sky that charred us. Poet rains red hot fire on the stage, and after the sky is starry night, specks blinking stages of our pain, constellations of forgiveness placed there by poets' clever hands, signing we are still able to love like this boy. Poet sets letters, geometry to a page, and after the sky is lush velvet ink known to the graveyard shift writers, a blanket for this scat of a moon to roll on, hope, fool, even if it will wane now again and wax again. I just want you to know, poets are weaving sorrow into the sky for you to find whatever hope you need on this one night. Yes, I love bashing rich people. Love it. I mean, here's the funny part, when I was growing up in the Soviet Union and the changeover happened and everything went to hell. It's like, you want to be rich, right? And then you look at what rich people do and you go, shit, no. And, and you have to write it because maybe, odds are they're not going to hear it because they're not going to be the same place I'm at, right? Odds are the multi-billionaires are not going to be in the same room. But maybe they will be, and maybe they need to just take down a peg. But my favorite thing is what people tell you when they find out, oh, you're like homeless. Night 113. You make homeless look so easy. I envy that you're so home free. You're so well put together. The story just cannot be. I heard these and more a few times in the past. Thank you, darlings. But I just haven't got to the heart part again. See, homeless takes time. Takes time to make a building condemned, takes time to empty its walls, grow neglect in its windows. And I am a lucky building built by streets of another city, one that doesn't believe in tears. Though one day, this building too will be found wanting, foundation cracked, deemed unsafe, its place in the world desired by a new sports bar with a giant TVs for the big game millionaires play. Another eye walking next to it. Backpack keeps unzipping, ready to spill life on the streets. I, a bag full, keep unraveling, ready to spill my life on the streets. Jealous of Canadian geese hunks of freedom to cross any river. What else we got? That's a nice short one. Nice little. Night 104. A family of sighs made a home of me. They come and go often. I assume to work and school, maybe to walk their side dog or let out their side cat to the streets. They live in my belly, probably talk about doing some small home improvements while I sleep. My mouth, their doorway. My shoulders, balconies. They sit there drinking tea, somehow heavy for beings of air. I am a careful home, holding them all tender, saying, I'm glad you're here, saying, on your way out, visit my heart. It's there next to my lungs. It is a warm and hard-working engine of this moving castle you call your home. Oh, let's see. There's some more on the phone. How you feeling? Yeah. All right. You know, I should probably done that in the beginning, you know. It's like, hey, but no, I was too busy, you know, being a poet and shit. Night 162. If I am magic, then I am the lonely magic. The empty park bench in the forgotten small city park. Musician playing empty room. The plastic bag floating above the subway vents. The single shoe unfound in the street. The cigarette half smoked in a weak-full ashtray. The flinched face upon a random gentle touch. If I am magic, then I am the tired magic. The sigh escaping time, faded stripes of crossings, 2 pizza slices midnight for one just before the closing time, broom and dishwasher solos for 80s forgotten music hits, the aching ankles free of shoes, the miracle of we made it through this fuck up day. If I am magic, then I am the hopeful magic. The tomorrow is another day refrain, the fall in love anyway, staccato despite past pain. A spell of let us try again. If I am magic, then you are magic too. So tell me, which kind of magic are you? Well, I think I'm gonna do one last one. Yeah. And then babble on about how to support poets. How's that? That sounds good. Because I would have forgotten if I didn't remind myself just now. So Night Since continued on for 363 nights. The reason I stopped it is because I was just done making that a public thing, right? Because I performed all these poems in various different open mics performances as I was living my life and writing these poems. And at some point it became hard. The situation is not changing in any meaningful way. And so I thought, you know what? I'm still going to write. I'm just not going to put it into the same thing. But somewhere along the line, I went and said, hey, you know what? I'm still writing these poems. So here's night 567. If the last word of a poem is love, will it echo in Laurelhurst pines long after I have no voice to lend to letters? If you are awake at 2:48, do the dreams miss you? And if so, do they wonder if you will ever come back? If you baptize yourself in the Little Kalama River, are you then fire or stone or some kind of beautiful? What of your name? If 204 nights are without a name, does it mean I found a point of quiet egress in a waiting room? If I see the Pacific Ocean one more time, will I have to leave my shadow to the tide? Will you press it between yellow leaves? Thank y'all. So, how to support poets? I got a Patreon. It is online. You can read so many poems. I think I've posted now over 1,000 on that thing. So you just go there and put $1 a month thing, and you get 1,000 poems instantaneously. It is on my cards. The cards are going to be at the table. I also have some in my pocket, so you can grab a card. Join me on Patreon. $1 a month, you get a poem a day, and eventually just a vault of poems. $5, you get me reading stuff on audio, if you're interested in that. And frankly, just lots of poetry, and I get to like eat. That's neat, you know? And generally, maybe even keep publishing these books. So yeah. Please join me on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Igor Brezhnev. My name is terrible to spell. It's foreign. I am foreign, but I've printed helpful little cards, so you can just type that in and go there. I've also got some books, volume 4. Volume 2 and volume 3 are available on my website. The address is on the card as well. And also I have just a few more copies left of America's a Dry Cookie full-length collection, my last one that came out in 2018. And those are on the website as well. I was not gonna lug them around because they're a pound of a book. Poetry is worth 25 bucks a pound, just so that you know. Thank you all. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you, Art the Cave. Thank you for coming and sharing your poetry and being here. It's lovely to see you all and lovely to perform.
Please keep it going for Igor. That was an amazing reading.
Yeah.
And one thing Igor likes to say is support the living poets because the dead ones don't need it. Okay. So right now we're going to take a 15-minute break. Now's your time to support Igor. Buy a book. It's about a 15-minute break. Also, we have $5 suggested donation. The jar is right there on the desk, which will be right next to the books. And I really appreciate everybody being here. We have a great lineup still coming at you in the second half. So please stick around. And thank you for being here. And thank you to Igor.
I just want to say one more quick thing. Just be mindful of the art as you're moving around, okay? Me too.
At this point, it's all I've done. Still burning, but still
Thank you.
Especially when it's in a silent way.
Oh, I love that. Did you have the box set? The box set didn't sound crazy. All the tapes, so it's a great place. I like all the box sets, especially now. I love when you get it. When you get to hear this, what it was like in the studio. And sometimes and within a silent way, I mean, it's like.
I've got the double CD for the one where you're playing the Spanish song. There's a full band behind the full organization. I got the double CD, and there you get like different takes and stuff. So that's fantastic. You know, in the movie, they capture that really well. Conducting and everything. You can see that with that Miles was John Cheadle. John Cheadle is a great
We're gonna try to get this going.
Oh,
I thought that was a really good movie. All right, everybody, we're gonna try to get this going again. Want to say thank you to everybody who's read so far. Thank you to everyone who supported Igor by buying books. And thank you to everyone who donated to the series. So we're getting ready for the second half. I'm just taking a look around. It's really beautiful. I started the thing in 2004, and it probably took us 5 or 6 years to get anybody to come who is coming to listen. That takes a long time. And so tonight we have that, and we also have these people who are obviously friends and or fans of Igor. Do you want to just make some noise if that's why you came tonight? Yeah. So the other way that you can support your local poet other than buying their books is showing up for their events. So thank you all for being here for Igor and to have this great night with us. I'm so glad that you came. So we are going to start off the second half with Cliff Wilson. Come on down, Cliff. Get out of your way.
Well, I'm not sure I like the part about going first here, but I think I just have to plow ahead. So here we go. The COVID pandemic is far more widespread and far more damaging than that thing 19. We know of several fates far worse than death, among them growing old. I have seen what 89 looks like, and it is a lot much like getting mold. Will I soon be required to produce my papers of permission to sup at my own table? I fear it will soon arrive at that day, and I will have to move to some other state, such as insanity or Shangri-La. With the middles and the poorest, hold on. With the middles and the poorest pockets already strip mined by those who already live in Shangri-La and talk with envy about the world's first trillionaire, he'll probably buy America at a fire sale price and proclaim himself the heir. Why should they want to bring an end to COVID when that's what's getting them there? Anyways, my butt cheeks will soon be all but bare. Do they believe that I asked them to be screwed in there? Pardon me, do you have any gray poupon? Not meaning to show any respect to those, however, who supposedly have the thing 19, but are you sure? There's something in my head that keeps conflating forced invasive medical procedures with Nazism and state-run propaganda and censorship, not with neighbors protecting neighbors, but with manufacturing apartheid. Hey, just call me old-fashioned. So that's it for that one. Okay. Cloudy lens. They tell me to write about that, what you know. So I wrote a poem about friend zone. Okay, today I see the daughter of a woman friend, now a young woman herself, who could have once, might have had a different hyphenated last name. Looking back through the cloudy lens of 24 years, I see a half-grown man, an insecure teen in the glory of a manly body, standing on the stage of the Grail Castle, unable to ask the question. Do I speak now through that cloudy lens to that young grown man, the little wisdoms that I now see more clearly? This here old grown man, the one you see right here, may still be unable to speak himself bravely or answer the question that the young me already knew the answer to. Has anything changed with me? A body cooling, hardening, painful in the hands, a mind weaker but more irrepressible than ever, a heart as fragile as it was in high school. And so for my friend as well. Lives lived in parallel, but destiny bound, never fully touching and maybe not progressed. In this life, maybe, tracks without a train. Through this cloudy lens, is that half-grown of a man speaking to me now? You might not fulfill your life's prime lesson. Ask the question.
Thank you, Cliff. I had a moment with that. I didn't see what happened. I'm kind of glad, but it seems to be okay. Next, we're going to hear from someone. I've introduced him this way so many times because we have new people every time and they should know. Jim Martin's been coming to Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic since the very first time we did this in November 2004. So we like to just give him a big hand when he's here. We're so glad that he's still coming. Please welcome our friend, Jim Martin.
I was looking to see if I knocked something down. I'm one of those things that are very old. Okay. Oh, if he was here, he would be so happy with me. I actually did this thing. Okay. If you have a beard, you'll know what I'm doing. They look so funny. I see myself in the mirror and I just howl. Before I start, I like to thank Chris and Tony for everything they've done. And I'd like to mention something about Chris and Tony that I may have mentioned in the past, but I just want to make sure that I have said it. I first met Tony before 2004 at the Fort Vancouver Regional Library over on Mill Plain by Hudson's Bay. And we had, was it a weekly or monthly? We had a monthly poetry gathering like this. And it was actually very good. We didn't have this many people. We'd have about maybe 7 or 8 people at a time. And one day Tony came in and I thought she was one of the people in the administration at the library. And this was about 7 o'clock at night, something like that. Very nice suit, coat buttoned up. And she either had something here, muffle or something, or her beard had grown. And her hair is pulled back, very nice, and then a bun that kind of moves up to the middle top of the head. And very, very professional. She sat down and laid her papers out and sorted them very nicely. And then when it was time for her to read, she read in a wonderful voice. And you've always had a wonderful voice, but it was very professional. And then when everything was finished, she would get up and walk out. And this went on, it was quite a while, wasn't it, before you met Chris? We didn't see her for a while. And we were wondering, what happened? Is she sick? Did she lose her job? And then 1 month, a little later, she came in and she looked just like she does now. Coat hanging loose. Clothes are nice and loose and comfortable. Hair's hanging down, flopping all over the place. And a big, huge smile on her face that we had never seen. And we all looked at one another and said, she's met someone. Oh, and you guys turned into, wow, something big in Vancouver, I'll tell you. Yeah, I just had to say that. Yeah. I want to say to you, we still like it. I know. That's what Brianna and I used to say. Yeah, okay. And I have one more thing to say about Chris. Chris reads, reviews books or anything, poetry, whatever that you would like to publish. And I had some books that 4 books that I've been working on for a long time, just a little bit here, a little bit there, because I was working, raising kids, doing all this sort of stuff, teaching down at the penitentiary 1 night a week. So I finally got 1 book completely together. And then my terabyte drive that had everything on it, family tree, all that stuff, crashed and couldn't be revived. But I had hard copies and they had notes all over them. But I was able to scan those and put it back together again. And then I gave it to Chris, and Chris did a really good job of going over it. And he would point out things where I need to focus a little more on, say, a poem or a piece of a prose piece. If something was well done, he would say it and tell me exactly why he thought it was well done. And so if you want feedback on your work, I would say get in touch with him because he's very good. And I'm in the process of doing, it's not really self-publishing, it's called independent publishing. If you self-publish, you give them your work and they just publish it as is. The independents will go over it, sort it out, help you find an audience. They help you with every aspect of it. And this group, Author House, has been around for a long, long time, almost, maybe even 100 years. It's almost 100 years, I know that for sure. So anyway, I've got one poem, and it's one that I wrote this week, and which most of my poems I've been reading lately have been ones that were written some time ago, and I've just brought them up and read them. And so I don't know how it's going to go. It doesn't have a title yet other than TITLE. Oh, and I need my glasses. I kept forgetting I am old. Sometimes I feel young, like when I come down here. Yes. How is it? A thought, like a leaf or an ice cream cone, begins this life as the thing it then sets off on a long journey to becoming something else, as did the fragments forced into the void by the singularity. That's the word, the Big Bang. Slowly but surely became the planet we live within and will become what replaces that planet. A thought today may become the foundation of a way to govern in another millennium. A leaf may be part of a caterpillar's eye 2 weeks from now. An ice cream cone, a spot on my shirt 5 minutes from now. All the things which make up the universe are becoming other pieces of its structure, its capacity to survive defeat, as do words, which force a pen to paper, become the life of the universe. Thank you.
So I've known Jim for almost 20 years, and he's identical to how he looked and how he was, long ago. So I'm wondering if, like Max von Sydow, perhaps Jim is a vampire or a poetry vampire, if there is such a thing, just as handsome and beautiful and bearded as he was on the day that I met him. And thank you for the kind things that you said. Yeah, when we were all meeting over there at the library, there wasn't a poetry scene. Vancouver was boring. I was bored. And so that's part of how Ghost Town came to be. It's sort of like if you find yourself in a boring place or a place where there isn't a scene, then one of the things that you could do is try to build something. So I'm so glad that that's what I decided to do to cure my boredom. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So next we're going to hear from Logan Burnett. So please say hello to Logan.
Hello. I'm not even gonna try with this. The whole concept scares me. Okay, thank you. Great. It's been a very long time since I've done anything like this. Just bear with me. But it's great. There's so many people here. Just want to say thank you to my friends who came to support me. It means a lot. Thank you guys. Okay, so this poem has no title, but it's short, so maybe we'll have a title at the end. Okay. Do you not run with wolves? Are you not she who sings for Hecate? I've seen you under swollen moon. You dance by firelight and I swoon. Alabaster skin, naked in the trees, your earthy sweat on the breeze. I yearn for those heavy touches, longing to be in your clutches. Serpentine kisses on you dappled. Allow me to bite from dripping apple. I swear to you, my mortal coil, lick your ichor from the rich soil. Casting spells with harmonic motion, bind me with an oath of devotion.
Logan reminded me of something I like to say when people are sort of new to the poetry thing and asking for advice. You know, here at Ghost Town, we don't like rules, or I should say, I don't like rules. We've never had disclaimers. We've never told people what to say or how long they can be up here, how many poems they could read. I just hate that shit. And I noticed that at the readings where people do that, everybody hijacks the mic. It's just human nature. No one likes to be told what to do. So what I like to say to those people who are inexperienced, and I don't know you, Logan, maybe you're extremely experienced, so this is not about you in particular, is if you want to be a superstar and open mic poetry reading, do what Logan just did. Read one poem and sit down, and everyone will love you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Clark County Poet Laureate, Armin Tolentino. So glad he's here with us tonight.
It's nice going in the second half because I could watch all of the like trip fall areas and be like, okay, watch out, you know, on the left-hand side. It's wonderful seeing you all. I just want to make a quick plug that I'm going to be hosting, facilitating a free writing workshop November 20th in partnership with Cascades Presbyterian Church. Open to anyone. You don't have to be part of that congregation. The church is just opening their doors and allowing us to use their space. So November 20th, I can't remember the time. It's in my phone somewhere, which I will turn on. But you can register at my website, www.armintolentino.com. Like Igor was saying, like you might not recognize my last name. So if you just Google Armin, like arm the appendage, in like the opposite of out, poetry, Vancouver, I should be one of the top 10 hits, I would hope. You know, and hey, but any other Armins rocking poetry in Vancouver, I respect, you know, I respect. So I'll read y'all one poem, but feel free to ignore me as I read this poem if you want to register for that writing workshop right now and look at your phone. Okay, this poem is called Manchineel Door. Manchineel is a very deadly tree. So its fruit is poisonous and will kill you. Its sap will give you terrible blisters. And if you burn it, the fumes can also kill you. Manchineel Door. I hewed the manchineel into a door. For years, my fingers wept. The sores closed in winter, then blistered fresh each spring. I chose the only wood I had, which was no choice. For years, my fingers wept. The poison slowed, but never dried in the dead wood of the door. Rain would wake the sap. I kept it closed then most of my life, which was my choice. My sores would burn just looking at that door. The ghosts of all those dead years, like sap in the rain, rose to haunt the threshold. I could have left the door open or had no door at all. Years came to their close. I had no choice but live with what I chose. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Armin. That workshop sounds amazing. I can't wait to check that out. Check out what time it's at. Yeah, next, I'm super excited to announce Micah Fletcher. Awesome performance poet. Welcome.
Red decided people can be haunted the same way houses are. My footprint has measurements that prove this mathematically. I never met them, and now I never will, but When I watch the bald head of a warm ghost duck between the teeth in the live smile of Eric's mouth, I will see the soft love of a dead younger brother in the sad eyes of his sisters. I will never meet his brothers. I am a brother. Brothers don't embody hope for the dead. They embody revenge. They get it. They kill their enemies. Their rage is the only thing left pumping. See, Red had decided that people can be haunted the same way that houses are. Too true, Red. Too true. You catch me on a gray September in Portland when the winds of my town batter the wood panels of me, and you can hear a pair of men whispering in their dreams between the slats I tried to drown out the sound once. It did. Turns out liquid doesn't kill sound, it just pitches it down and makes it louder. Now I'm a vacuum. Because in a cold darkness like space, no one can hear me miss them. Red decided people can be haunted the same way that houses are. Now, if I go to the right steeple, right, and I ask the right God, will it exorcise the other things inside of me out, right? Will it be more effective if I get a rabbi to do it? Will he explain it to me? Will a Catholic hurt more? Richard was Catholic. When he got stabbed, I wonder if he thought of Jesus, of lances through sacred sides. Did he forgive him the way Jesus would? I really hope so. I'm told if the last thing that you feel in this life is rage, we're pretty sure a burning feeling follows you out. You see, Red, long time ago, shitty bar, Burnside and something, told me people can be haunted like houses are. And I started dressing down all rude and clean and shaven. I guess I thought that that counted as redecorating in this context. Bit of a fucking misnomer there. Not quite old enough of a style to be Victorian, but the rumor mill my mind is composed of makes this feel aristocratic. So the question is less whether I should wear powdered wigs and more, do ghostly footprints? Because if they do, let my floor be talcum powder. Because I really want to know where my shame goes when I sleep. You see, Red decided people can be haunted like houses. And my dreams have become poltergeist knocking book memories off shelves, clearing space. That's why I don't remember dying. Being born, the first time I was jumped, is still there somehow, blooming in the back of my skull. But fuck me if I could tell you the first time I became the pendulum of a swing set. The last time I was truly happy. I guess my haunting knows better than I do what I need to remember. I don't remember what it sounded like when they died. Because Red decided that people can be haunted the way houses are. But she also explained that the anger pain of the prospective tenant remarking on how lovely her house's bones are is something to be lambasted at. Red, if you're reading this, tell me, if someone says that to me, how will I know whether they mean the building that I reside in or my body? If the subject is my body, how will I know if they're speaking to me or the ghosts of a Friday, haunting my dreams, living in my sleep, having dinner in the dining room of my rib cage?
Wow, that was some power. And we've had such an amazing night. Thank you to the whole Portland community, Slam community, for coming out to support Igor and Micah. That was, yeah, I mean, everybody tonight's been killer, but wow, got chills from that one. And Red's here. Red's, yeah. I love all of these poems that are referencing other poets that are in the room. We clearly like each other, if not love each other. And hang out outside of the readings, which is amazing. Next, I'd love to introduce Sage Lilac. Come on up, Sage.
I have a question before I start. Whose waters are these and can I have one? I'm so thirsty. You're all just gonna watch me drink water like a bunch of weirdos. I've never performed it. I just wrote this poem a couple days ago, so let's see how it goes. I've been smelling something lately. I can't quite recognize. Something familiar. All through the house at random times. Something from my childhood. I sniff closely at each object I suspect, like a hound dog searching out foxholes, but nothing specific matches. It's just a smell that overtakes me sometimes. I can't quite place where it brings me to either. The dirty earth reminds me of the RV I slept in as a child, across the highway and up a hillside from the Spirit Mountain Casino and Ground Round. Strep throat and mono at the same time with no working bathroom closer than a short hike away. I remember the rain, heavier than anything, and my single dad carrying me in the middle of the night, pretending I didn't just shit my pants at about 10 years old. That place wasn't all bad. The hillside was vast and owned by nobody. Lots of blackberry bushes, old vehicles for parts, and ranch land to explore. If you were real bold with a machete, you could find all sorts of forgotten places, old trailers, abandoned and overgrown. My favorite was one that had been somehow turned sideways. Something about that place could be mine. Shattered glass all over the wall beneath my feet, a wood stove to set off fireworks in, a place just difficult enough to get to that nobody would follow me. A good place for picnics, butter on white bread and blackberries. I took one of the bedrooms for myself, not even the master. I played pretend that I lived in a normal sideways house surrounded by brambles. I remember that place having a lot of smells, but I'm not sure if it had the familiar smell I'm remembering. Further up the hillside was a haunted house. The other kids and some adults would say they saw a young girl in the upstairs window, but anyone who knew about the house also knew that it had been nearly destroyed with age and the stairs were non-existent. One day, I climbed up through some of the broken rafters like a twisted ladder to see what was really up there. I found a nearly destroyed bedroom with a bed frame and bookshelf untouched, and a couple of dusty school textbooks decayed with pages missing, full of intrigue for this 10-year-old archivist to uncover. The science book mused that technology is evolving so rapidly, we may one day even be able to set foot on the moon. Hugging that book tightly to my chest, laying on the rotted wood floor, I wanted so bad to tell the people of the past how good it gets in the future, how far we take things, and how some of us are up in space right now. What a miracle. I spent hours in that long forgotten girl's haunted bedroom, thinking what it must have been like to have a bedroom, to have a real right side up bedroom of her own. My stomach rumbled loudly. Because I am not one of the lucky ones does not mean I am not vastly lucky. One day I went to that house for the last time and found a decaying deer carcass with its belly open on the bare earth near the doorway, with dark eyes that I couldn't look away from, reminding me how everything, as far as I could explore in my world, was in some way. That's right. That's the smell. The smell I've been searching for in my grown-up right side up house now. There must be something dead here too.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sage. Wow. Tonight, just so it's a brilliant night. Thank you all for being here. We host Ghost Town Open Mic second Thursday of every month. We hope you come back. For those of you whose first time it is, please come back and share. I'd love to introduce somebody who's newer to the community, but has been showing up really consistently as well. Our friend Stephen Mcclure. Welcome. Yeah.
I'd like to ask for 7 minutes of your time. I submitted this to a nature poetry contest. 13 years ago. I came home to the land of my birth at the end of winter. Everyone was sick of snow, but it had nearly all melted soon after my father's funeral. And then on the first full day of spring, it snowed. Almost half a foot of snow, nearly 9 feet for the year, or rather the season. It's why I left and partly why my father stayed. My home for decades has been in a temperate rainforest and the seasons are mild. Here in Michigan, however, winter is white with snow. The season of death and rebirth is long and cold. I've come back to learn yet again that it is very white as well. White like bones, like my father's ashes that lie in the ground near here. White like the full moon that I went out to sit under late last night. As I sat on a snow-covered rock, gazing at the haze-shrouded moon, I thought about how we don't see the sun's light until the moon reflects it back to us. The light shines on the other side of the planet and passes away from us onto the stars in the night sky, the campfires of our ancestors. The sun is there all right, but without the moon, our world is dark. The whiteness of snow, like that of the moon, reflects the light back to us. It reminds us that the source of light is still there. The spirit continues and life goes round. I led the singing of Amazing Grace at my father's funeral. A few stanzas were enough, so I skipped to the fifth and final one that John Newton wrote more than 200 years ago. The earth shall soon dissolve like snow. The sun forbear to shine. But God, who called me here below, shall be forever mine. We all sit on this big rock, spinning up to 1,000 miles an hour and floating at incredible speeds on our orbit around the sun. Doesn't seem like we're going anywhere, but we are indeed on a great journey. We go from one season to another. Nature seems dead under the snow, and we appreciate it so much when life comes back in the spring, fed by the waters of melted snow. People here see the land, the trees, and plants so much clearer in summer because they have seen them covered in snow. Is fall the saddest season because life is tired and goes to sleep, awaiting a blanket of snow? As snow lays over the rocks and trees and takes the shape of the land, it forces us to imagine all that is underneath. The shapes of snow are shadows of a former world, yet we can remember the life that is there, even in a flat, open field of snow. Snow slows us down, even stops us, and makes us reflect on our lives. Perhaps we should be thankful for the snow. Even 9 feet of snow. On our journey, it seems we always come back to the snow, the white stuff we can play in and leave our tracks in. Writers are sometimes intimidated by the vast whiteness of a blank page or computer screen because they fear that the emptiness in front of them reflects the emptiness inside them. They just have to remember to play, leave their little tracks on the open field, little marks of letters showing that their impermanence has passed this way. I don't remember the words of my father so much as his tone, the deep, masculine, reassuring tone of his voice. I can sense those murmurs coming from the other room when he'd speak to my mother. His impish grin, his words of jest or words spoken in anger, his opinions, his quiet, his strength all dissolve into a simple feeling, a tone, a whiteness. My father did not hate the snow. He loved to go hunting and sit for hours in it. I will leave here again, but wherever I go, I will remember and be grateful for the whiteness of snow.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Next, we're going to hear from somebody who I believe it's their first time here. Xylo. Xylo, welcome to the Ghost on Stage.
Hi, y'all. I'm Xylo. This is my first time here. It's also my first time. Oh, forgot. It's also my first time back at an open mic since COVID started, so I'm very excited to be here. Yeah, I'm going to tell you about a revelation I had. So, did you know that if you leave a dry spaghetti noodle on a burner for roughly 30 seconds, it will toast itself into a pretzel-like string and through this transformation, become an excellent snack for an angsty bitch like me? The best thing about burner spaghetti is its simplicity. I mean, burner spaghetti will never make me too full. It doesn't need any fancy sauces or vegetables or protein. I guess you could add peanut butter or something, but like, why would you? Wiggly spaghetti, on the other hand, is straight up too much commitment. I love it too much. I love it so much, but it takes time and it fills me up, and I feel like I'm gonna burst like the sun will someday. So here I am sitting on the kitchen counter, half of me screaming at the other half to stop making burner spaghetti. And no, here I sit watching the strings shrivel and brown. And did you know I don't even notice when sweat starts dripping down my neck until it sizzles? It's not even that warm. It's a mild spring night, but it's still hotter than all the winter days before it. But this poem isn't about perspective or how I've gotten more and more anxious and shaky all day, culminating in tipping the angel hair spaghetti bag all over the counter and floor. No, this poem is about how, before I could clean it up, 3 little strands blackened on the stove, which was still burning to the touch. This poem is about, that's right, y'all, burner spaghetti. I could tell you all about the boy who loves me, who could sit on this counter, how he would laugh with me about this new eureka, this blessing in disguise. But last night he realized that I don't love him as much as he loves me, and now we're breaking, just like this too fucking thin angel hair spaghetti all over this goddamn kitchen as I try and pick it up and throw it away. But this is not about that. This poem is not about him or what eats me. This poem is about burner spaghetti, the food I crunch to stop from grinding my teeth. And did you know I loved a girl last rain, but the sun shone through her teeth. Every one of my goals was to see her grin again, her glow, my full stomach, a meal better than anything I could make on the stove. And I think I love this boy, just not in a squishy spaghetti way. I don't know how to say, I think I love you though. I mean, does anyone? It's one of those things you have to be definite about, like, look, I can't think of anything except spaghetti, and how I love the uncertainty of it. I love how it's the same as us, the same as how our thoughts and fingers can entwine together. And then if they're destined to, they break.
Damn, now I'm going to be thinking about burner spaghetti for the rest of the night. Thank you, Xylo, and I hope you return. Please return. To close us out for tonight, I would love to introduce Christopher Luna, who in 2004, when he started this reading, made Vancouver so much fucking cooler. And thank you so much for that. And thank you to Tony for hosting all of the years with him and showing me how it's done. And thank you, Christopher Luna. Showing all of us how it's done. Straight up.
So another way that you can support poets is by publishing them. So I met this great poet named Leah Class, and when I met her, she was a Portland resident. Her family has since moved to Ann Arbor, Michigan. So we're not going to be doing a bunch of book launch stuff for her because she's in Ann Arbor and we're here, but came out October. This is the press printed matter Vancouver that I started with Tony in 2011. I think this is book 8 or 9. The majority of the books are debut collections by poets from Southwest Washington, but we have in the past year or so branched out a little bit. I published a novel by my brother. I told him there were other ways this could happen, but he really wanted me to do it. So our first novel, if you're a metalhead, you'll want to read this. It's called Rhyme of the Angry Metalhead. And we both grew up on Ridge on Long Island, and we're metalheads. So there's a lot of accuracy in this book of fiction. But anyway, the new book is called Reach Out, Reach In by Leah Class. You can order it all of the usual places, and I'm going to try to make sure that it's at the usual places nearby. And I've been thinking about that bullshit criminal law that was just passed in Texas, and so I decided I would share this poem from Leah's book with you. Take Your Hands Off, a tribute to Planned Parenthood. Take your hands off me might not be a phrase familiar to everyone. A woman would know it for sure, and a girl maybe. Everyone deserves kind and respectful treatment, but all things are not equal. Even the wealthy and well-to-do limit their daughters' access. Young women sitting shyly, short painted nails tapping to other young people through a screen, easier in emojis than sexual understanding, more comfortable with asking Google and reading Twitter than talking with an adult about reproductive health. He's just a friend from the internet, she'd said, not linking health and his touch. No one had ever spoken about care, reproductive, nor about her body being her own. They only offered reactions, services, directions to clinics and bus rides and lying to parents. And suddenly she saw it, friendly faces and hugs and explanations, education. Older women willing to talk about boys and breasts and self-care. Funny thing, how they had taught her to say no. Funny that after all she'd been through, she heard them say, "You matter." Fucked up, I say. How come nobody else had cared for her, no matter what? Everyone deserves equal access to sexual and reproductive health care services and education, care no matter what. It's Leah Class. So if you read the book, it's an acrostic, which is, you know, the first letter of or the first word in each line spells something, but Leah decided to write one where the last word in every line is also a phrase. So if you read the book, you get to check out that, or I can show it to you after. I'm going to read two poems of my own for you, and the first one is a collage poem, which means that all of the lines are borrowed from somewhere else. Not all poets, but a fair amount of what I borrow from poets is not lines of their poetry, but those things that they say during that nervous chatter before and after their poems. A picture of her vision. Truthful discoverer, trust that the poem is going to appear. A record of a moment of lucidity aroused that question in me. Such a long slog to epiphany. You must stay with me always, prevent my ruination. Let's dance between the lines, a tender sharing in midst of compassion. Inattention, the fiercest predator, listen to your instinct or die. So that's that. A couple of the people who are not from the local community that I borrowed things from there, Arthur Z, and a couple of lines from John Adams, the series John Adams with the great Paul Giamatti. This is a confessional poem of a kind, Your Reason's Confession. I am afflicted with a compulsion to assume others must experience life as I do, must see every connection I've made and have reached all the same conclusions. When I slow down the machinations of my teeming self-analysis long enough to actually look, really listen, only then do I realize that what I see as empathy may be just a savage narcissism. I am afflicted with a passion for knowledge and understanding so ferocious that it is easy to get worked up enough that I allow my love for my ideas to blind me to what is really happening, to all there is to learn. Reason's Confession. And Reason is a character that William Blake created, and William Blake also created universes. So it's a heavy trip. And then this you kind of need a class or a dictionary to read the longer poems of William Blake. And someone did it. A scholar named S. Foster Damon created a Blake dictionary. So when you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on in Blake, you can use S. Foster Damon. And Urizen was a character that I related to because Urizen is in chains of mind locked up. So being a, self-analytical, possibly masturbatory, perfectionist, overanalyzing everything, including myself, I felt like I could relate to this guy, Urizen. So anyway, check it out if you haven't before. I want to say a big thank you to Sharon and Kathy and everyone at Art at the Cave for hosting us and for making this such a great experience tonight. I want to say thank you to my co-host Morgan Paige, who's been killing it since we brought her on. And a big thank you to my friend and another person who shows us how it's done in so many different ways, Igor Brezhnev. So, yeah. So, if you haven't already, I would encourage you to buy a copy of one of his books on the way out. And if you're able to contribute a few dollars to support him and support the series, you could do that on your way out. And we will see you again on the second Thursday of December. And I always mean to figure out what the date is, but I didn't do that. We're going to have two writers from Gobshite Quarterly, which is a really great Portland press. We're going to have Moira McAuliffe, who is one of the publishers, and Michael Shea. So the two of them will be our features for our December reading. Did anyone find out what that date is? December 9th. So I hope that we'll see you here again on December 9th. Thanks so much for coming. It was a great night.
Wow. Thank you.